It's an interesting year, this, because it's actually 30 years of the business, it's 40 years of marriage, and I'll be 70 this year too, so it's kind of like a triple celebration.
Nick's, you know, a legend. He was there when they were being built in the late 70s. The one I'm working on in the trim shop, is one that he specified for a client and had special leather dashboard made, and so yeah, they must be quite personal to him. Not like children, but mean a little bit more than just another V8 Aston Martin.
You know, I certainly grew up with, weirdly, a passion for cars. I was one of those little swatty types in the back of my mother's Triumph Herald in short trousers and sandals, you know, swivelling round saying, you know, that's a Austin Westminster coming here, and that's an MG here, and oh my goodness, have you seen that? That's an E-Type, and oh, what's that coming up behind us with its headlights on? Oh, it's a DB6, you know. So, you know, I've always, for as long as I can remember, had a passion for cars. My grandchild, who's all of 18 months old now, show him a little model or a toy motor car, and he's got his hands on it and he's wheeling it around the room, you know. There is this expression of what is, you know, the difference between men and boys is simply the size of their toys. I'm sort of front of house with Neil and a couple of others here, so we get to know the clients. But the guys in the workshop, the guys working on the cars, they're working on the cars.
Oh, he's in the trim shop, Si.
You all right, mate?
He's in the trim shop.
Oh, is he?
So is, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where to get a live from the radio. I've worked out what fuse is. I'm just working out if that's a high enough amperage. The problem with these old manuals is they don't list things logically. You have the list of the fuses back there and it won't tell you what they are.
This is the Aston Martin DB4 Lightweight. I'm not sure how successful it was or how long it lasted, but they are pretty cool cars. But yeah, apart from the body, there's really not, body and the engine, there's not much of an original DB4 left. But yeah, cool thing, without a doubt. No compromise, thoroughbred. But it's just great that it's going to actually get used for what it's supposed to do rather than just sitting, because it's been sitting for 10 years, so. It'll be nice once we've got it ready. Hopefully we'll get to go for a shakedown.
One of the most important aspects of a classic car is the history file that supports it, where the car has been, what maintenance it's had, the details of previous ownership.
Neil's he's been researching this car, and he's started to make up a bit of a folder with its kind of history and where it's raced, and just kind of, I think it's got invoices and everything on here. He's done a thorough bit of research on it. Just pictures of where it's raced, dyno testing, it's got everything. Neil's really dug up some pretty interesting stuff for this one.
It's a really enjoyable part of the role, actually, because it allows you to get really under the skin of a car and understand exactly where it's been throughout its life.
It's also just nice to have something, you know, because it's all about the stories that these cars have rather than just, you know, how nice they look or how fast they go. It's all about maintaining the history and the legacy of the car. So, yeah, it's a pretty special thing. I've maybe seen one before, but I've never had a chance to work on it, so it's a bit of a real privilege, you know.
It's difficult finding young people who want to learn a skill, but the skill of maintaining heritage cars is a great one and will always stand them in good stead throughout their life.
See how that?
So now it's more straight.
See that spiral up there? It's just come up.
Yeah.
That's where you've got to be really careful though. You see how tight that spiral is there compared to these? So that was like, any more than that, it'll snap.
Just snap.
It's a bit like, you know, people that make thatch roofs. You know. There aren't many of those, and but there's always going to be a demand, because after all, if you've got a thatch roof cottage, you're not going to want to put tiles on it, are you? But you have got to replace the thatch roof from time to time.
I love cars that work mechanically, carburetors and distributors, and it's not just a computer controlling the car and telling you if you're allowed to downshift now or not. It's more, you feel more connected to the car, I think. It's just the engineering part of it that's absolutely amazing to me. If you're thinking most of these other ones, like 4s and the 5s that are 50s, 60s models, those must have been rockets back in the day.
They were all different. There were no two cars ever the same. It's a bit like, you know, going down to Lobs and having 2 pairs of shoes made. They'll be different. They'll feel different, the 2 pairs. Or going and having a couple of suits made for you in Savile Row. You'll put them on. They're going to feel different. Each one's going to feel different.
Well, I suppose it's the beauty of it being hand-built, isn't it? They're all slightly different, and all the trim is done slightly differently, which is like the stitching on the back of these seats. That'd be all completely unique. I know it's a tiny little thing, but you don't get that in modern cars. In modern cars, everything is exactly the same. Whereas, yeah, you know, it's a silly little thing, but you can't replicate that.
Driving them is just an absolute experience. It's not a perfect car. It doesn't drive perfect, but that makes it special. It comes more down to the driving than the actual car.
On the new era cars, we've got a wealth of knowledge. The cars have their own life, and they remember them, and they remember what they need doing. Then it comes back a year later, they remember the car. Nobody needs an Aston. They want one. It's a heartfelt decision. And so we try to make the experience as pleasurable as possible. And we can do that here without fire engines and sirens and parking wardens outside. It's an experience, and you might say for a lot of people it's a luxury experience. People like to get in their old car and have a mission. They don't necessarily want to get into their collector's car and just drive around the block. So, yeah, we produce these events. If you think about what we have as chess pieces, every so often we get the chessboard out and say, come and play.
I grew up on the small holding with my dad, who had the workshop similar to this for about 30 years, and that's exactly where I got all my knowledge. Growing up in the workshop, learning about these carburetors and how to tune the car. Obviously not these kind of cars back in South Africa, but it's the same principle. An engine's an engine. You add a couple of more cylinders or take some off, it works the same, and that's knowledge that I got from him. And no school, I think, can ever teach you that. It's just knowledge handed down from generation to generation. That's where it's at, actually. Yeah.
I don't really see any reason why it shouldn't flourish for the next 30 years. Unfortunately, I won't be here for the entirety of that time, I don't imagine. But the spirit will be, and that's important too, that I'm able to, how can I put it, to dispense to all the guys that work at Nicholas Mee and Company some of my background and actually some of my sort of, I don't know whether you call it ethos or practice or, but sprinkle a bit of that dust on them so that the lantern will be carried on for many years.
This will not be pretty or graceful.
Sales for tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock, and then that one for last play on Friday.
Sweet. Okay. I love the quirkiness of Aston Martin.
And then we can do our best to make that happen for you. You're ruining my moment of fame, Mark.
Sorry. Take two.
I've enjoyed every moment of it. Watching the company grow, the challenges we faced, overcoming the challenges.
Heritage, British heritage.
Yes. No, sir. Yep. Yes.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah.
Who can complain about working here? Nobody. But they do.
The three values that this business operates to are knowledge, integrity and passion. Whilst we don't have that in neon signs above the door, those are values that are instilled in all of the members of staff here and our representatives, our subcontractors that operate for us, whether that be the driver of the transportation company going to collect a car from a client's address, through to you can cut it there. Yeah.